Hi, it's me, Kelsey Bell. I'm here with Todd Sullivan.
Hello.
And we are live in 100 Mile. We're at Sun Spirit Studios with Cindy Faulkner.
Hello.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
We're at her. This is your studio you own?
It is.
Very nice. I love it.
Yes, it's been Sun Spirit for about 30 years, 35
Oh, wow.
years. I've had that name. Yeah.
Oh.
I started pottery in high school. Yeah.
I was going to say, you don't look old enough to...
Yeah, it's only been a couple years.
Yeah, right out of the womb, you're a business lady.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you start the business like right out of high school, or?
Well, I got inspired in high school by my high school pottery teacher, Mrs. Moonen, she was just so supportive and encouraging. And I got the bug and I got addicted. And ever since high school, I've either belonged to a pottery studio and a club of sorts, like in Falls Creek Potters Club was my first, and then West End Potters Club, and then took ceramics at Capilano College with Sam Kwan.
Wow.
Amazing master potter. And yeah, so then after that, I've been teaching pottery and having my own studio somewhere or another for many moons.
Wow.
So you're used to the big city. You're, Vancouver is
That's
where
right.
you...
I moved up here about 7 years ago and just absolutely love it. Love the nature and the slowness and the lakes and the fishing and the kayaking.
Is business different being in a smaller town? Is it a...
There's a lot more interest in classes, I'll tell you that, because we have to drive right now all the way to Williams Lake for pottery classes.
Oh.
So I do want to put just a little plug in for creative art and hobby on Horse Lake Road in 100 Mile House, because they are doing some wonderful art classes, but they're also going to start doing some hand building pottery classes and eventually wheel classes as well.
Oh, wow.
And those are the ones you teach?
Well, I'll be teaching some of them. We've just been conversing about I'll be doing that, but yeah, they may have other people teaching the pottery as well, but they teach other things as well as pottery at this time. Yeah.
So what about pottery is it that you love? Like what is it that really hooked you?
It's the feel of the clay in my hands, the earthiness. It's very grounding. The smell of the clay when you open the bag. Some people don't like it at all. But I know my mom couldn't stand the feeling of clay under her nails. And some people, you either love it or you don't. And I think if you love it, you get hooked. And I got hooked. And I've never tired of it. Yeah. Every time you open a kiln, I think many potters feel this way. Every time you open a kiln, it feels like Christmas. You never know what that batch is going to turn out like. It might be fabulous. I always try to put in an experiment or two and to always check out some new formula or glaze combination or experiment. But
I remember kiln day can be a devastating day too if you don't do things properly, because then things can shatter and crack, right? I remember that in high school. I made a dragon and I was so excited to paint it and I couldn't because it broke.
Exactly. Yeah, it can be very devastating and disappointing.
Yeah. And Todd and I, when was this? Last year. We did pottery in Kamloops. And I was so excited because I was like, yeah, I want to make a mug. I'm excited to make a mug. And the first thing she says is like, be prepared to just leave home with nothing because it's harder than it looks. And that was the thing that I took away. I was like, wow, I have a huge respect for this art because it is so technical.
Yeah, it does take a while to learn. So if you have a really big expectation, as with anything in life, right? Not being attached to the expectation and the outcome, and enjoy the process, learn how to center, get a feel for the clay, get to know how clay is, then you're going to probably enjoy your experience. And if you get a successful mug the first time, that's a bonus, right?
They still have my bowl at Art Party.
Oh, you got to
have to go pick it up.
Go back in and paint it. Yeah. I assume they would have thrown it away by now, but no.
I can't wait to get in there. I haven't visited them yet since they opened, but I've been watching them online.
It's a really cool spot.
Yeah,
and they have even like a store. Let's not talk about them right now. We're here.
We're here.
And it looks like you have a bit of a store.
Yeah,
Can I?
I sell my pottery. I mostly sell at markets.
Okay.
Like the Women's Fair and the Garlic Festival is the next one coming up.
Oh, yeah,
That is so much fun. If you haven't been to the Garlic Festival, the South Caribou Garlic Festival, it's at the end of August every year. It is so much fun. The brown and blue combination that you're looking at right there is some of the first work I've ever done. I've kind of continued with that combination. Like The words were inspired by when I had a studio in Squamish, and my daughter was in kindergarten, and we took a program called the Family Virtues Program, and you study one word with your family per week. It's a word that you'd like to bring into your family. And I started carving them around the bowls.
Oh, yeah.
And it's never stopped. And it's just such a, again, I never get tired of it. I do many other experiments and other types of work, right? Otherwise I would get tired. But it's just been it's kind of a meditation, carving the words around the rims. And
what are some of the words that you've used? Okay.
Yeah. Trust, love, courage, faith, abundance, joy, faith, love, wisdom, community, those kinds of words that I want to manifest into my life and into my community.
Sure.
High vibrational words of, I'm hoping that those will go with the bowls and onto the tables of the families that are.
What a nice thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did live, laugh, love before live, laugh, love existed.
Maybe.
Right? It's like you see those everywhere.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Lights are flickering. Is this place haunted?
No. There's many other things happening in businesses, and so they've got a big compressor, and so when that comes on, the lights.
Yeah, you are in a bit of an industrial area.
It is, yes, yes. In order to have a studio and a shop like this, this is where I've landed, and I have a lovely, tiny little living space in my little, comfy little loft up there, but it was all about the shop at this time.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you're going to be spending a lot of your time with the work, you're going to be down here through most of it. So yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you working on today?
Well, I've just put a big lump of clay on a plaster bat to. If you'd like to see throwing a bowl, I can do a little demo of how to throw a bowl.
Yeah, of course.
So the first thing you want to do is, of course, wedge your clay to get all the air out of it first on the wedging table. And then I'm using a plaster bat here because for larger pieces, a plaster bat allows the base to dry evenly with the walls. It allows it to release off of the plaster and dry evenly.
Okay.
So you really want to get this centered before you can start opening it up. And we do that by pushing our elbows in here and pushing our hands together. And when it stops wobbling greatly and you can feel that it's not doing this, then you know that you're centered.
Yeah.
And it also is a reflection of how centered I am, because the days that I can't get it centered, I'm like, what's going on? And it's usually something going on that doesn't allow me to center.
Right.
I like how you think.
Yeah, it's very true, though.
It's true. The words we say to ourselves and the
yes.
stuff we listen to on the radio, it really matters.
It absolutely does. Our environment does, absolutely. And therefore, that's why I think incorporating the positive words of affirmation and high vibrational words into my work is really important to me, because it keeps me in that space while I'm working and incorporates it into my life as well.
Also, color therapy, I think, I don't know if you're intending on doing color therapy, but the colors you're using, just the pieces behind you there, are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
They kind of send like a happy mood to my brain. Just looking at the colors, and it's very calming.
I think that is always my underlying mission while I'm working, is to create,
like a mood?
Happiness, to bring happiness, to bring joy, and those are actually a dark brown clay, but I've used colored slip and painted over top and then just carved the pattern through it.
So you don't use a stencil for the leaf design, that's all hand?
Everything is all hand carved. My hand is just kind of got a memory now for the words that I carve and the leaves.
Nice.
You'll notice a lot of it, even in my paintings, but in my pottery, I use leaves in almost all of my work, and I think it's a reflection of growth again. Life and growth and health and abundance, and a lot of things just automatically get they're really flickering, aren't they?
I know.
Get leaves and things like that on them, representing growth.
So you're making a bowl without even looking at what you're doing. That is how good.
It's really about the feel. It really is about the feel of the walls, and you're wanting to go really slowly from the bottom right up to the top.
Yeah.
So that the bowl is, so that you're feeling it spiral at least once around before you move up is the goal.
Oh, it's so cool to see the texture. Do you want all those rings like in the bowl itself?
No, we'll definitely take those. Well, I mean, sometimes some people like to leave the rings in, and for some textures, they actually look really nice. But for the inside, I like to have my inside nice and smooth for functional purposes, so that, if you're serving food or salad dressings or anything like that, things can be easily washed out.
Yeah. Do you have like a popular item that is most sold?
I think my Harmony bowls are one of the, mugs, I think, for any potter. I should correct myself. I think mugs for any potter is definitely the best seller. There was a little time where I got a little bit tired of mugs, and I was like, I just want to do what comes from my heart. I want to do something creative that's not, and and then I fell back in love with mugs again because they're so versatile and you can do so much. But yeah, like if you go to a sale or a festival, that is something that's small and easy for people to transport home if they're tourists or visiting a festival for the day. So mugs definitely sell really well.
Oh, whoops! Accidentally got a shot of the dog.
Oh no. So how much do you know when you start, something, what it's going to look like at the end, and how much is it sort of discovered through the process?
Well, if you are making mugs, for example, the part that is dependable and that I know, it's the way I do it anyways, the way I learned in college, was I weigh my clay. So every mug, a large mug, is going to be a pound of clay. So I wedge a big lot of clay, I roll it into a log, and I cut them all into 1 pound sections, and then I know that those mugs are all going to turn out roughly about the same size.
Right.
From there, my hand has a bit of a memory into shapes that I use. But I always like to try different shapes as well. And I always like to try a couple of different glaze combinations and not be sticking to the exact same thing all the time.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
I want to have a little bit of creativity. So it's a little bit of a combination of both, not knowing and also starting prepared.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What sort of things inspire you to create? Like a breakup? Falling in love?
Yes, all those
day.
things.
Yeah.
All those things. Like I always joke, and it's not a lie, but this is my therapy. This is cheap therapy. It's like meditation. I find just holding the clay, whether I'm throwing or hand building, you just become, or I guess when people are painting or knitting or any maybe people who are cooks. And when you're immersed in your craft, it's like a meditation, and it induces mindfulness. Right?
Yeah, you're like so locked in on what you're doing.
You're locked in on it, and if I'm not locked in on it, those are those times when I can't get the clay centered because my mind is sort of over there somewhere, and I have to sometimes bring myself back. But I noticed that where I live definitely inspires my work as well. Like when I lived in White Rock, it was a lot of seahorses and seashells and ocean and all of that. And when I moved up here, you'll notice I carve a lot of I carve a lot of fish on my mugs because I've really come to love fishing, and there's so many lakes here, and bear claws and tree roots and things like that. So it's definitely almost subconsciously just comes out when you with what you surround yourself with. I think For myself.
Had you been more of a city person prior to coming to 100 Mile House?
Oh yes, I was raised in Kitsilano and then lived in White Rock for many years. So definitely the city. I've always loved camping and getting out in nature, but the Caribou is such a special, magical place. Mm-hmm. Like it's to live and work in that nature is quite something. Like there's lakes every 5 minutes in any direction you turn.
And cute little ponds and
and you can drive an hour without coming to one single stop sign.
Yeah.
In a day's work. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. But You know, no matter where I go, I you can find the beauty, whether it's the city as well. No matter where you go, there's plus and minuses to everything, right?
Yeah, that's a good attitude for sure. I agree.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of throwing, and there is a...
Look how big your bowl got.
A bowl, yeah.
So is this going to turn into one of your abundance bowls?
It could. It certainly could. This is how I take those throwing lines out that you were talking about.
Okay.
Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a swirl, for sure, but like I was saying, for functional purposes, sometimes I think it's nice to be able to wash it quite easily.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you were going to make a lip, like often it's the rim that I'll carve the words on, so then you would just kind of do something like this. Supporting it with your
lip you're making now.
Yeah,
Cool.
so supporting it with your finger underneath.
Yeah.
And there you have a...
So what was your first creation in high school? What did you make that?
Oh, I wish I could remember what our first project was.
I wish you could remember too.
It could have been a
sake of
mug or a
storytelling.
little bowl. I don't know. But I have worked at my supplier a couple of times throughout my pottery career at Green Barn Potter Supply. And one day I was on the phone taking an order from somebody, and and it was from Kitsilano High School, and I said, "Oh, that's where I learned pottery. I had the best inspiring teacher." And, "Oh, you're from Kits High School?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh," she said, "Well, what was that teacher's name?" And I said, "Mrs. Moonen." And she goes, "Well, that's me."
Shut up.
And I said,
No.
I thought you said your name was something else." And she said, "Oh, that's because it's my married name." So she got to hear me say all these great things about how inspiring she was. I was so pleased. Yeah, it was nice. And she was there all those years later. And, you know, it takes...
Full circle.
It's really, really beautiful when a teacher can be that inspiring to somebody that...
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, because it can go the other way too. You can discourage people to never want to do something again, or you can encourage them and make them feel like they're, you know, really good at something and encourage them to go on. So
We've interviewed a comic book guy. He illustrated his own comic books, and he had a story about how his art teacher told him he was doing art the wrong way or something, and his story was like he got uninspired just because of those teachers' words.
I heard a story like that on CBC too, and it's so true. It's really sad. I think everybody's got an inner artist, and it's just like growing a garden. You got to nurture that, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times with art, you know, and in school, especially, you know, you have, you know, we're learning this week, so you have to do it this way. We're learning, you know, color theory, or we're learning pen work or whatever. And a lot of times I think you just have to give people the freedom to play.
That's right.
And people, I think, also need to give themselves permission to play. I think that can be challenging, that people are like, no, I mean, I'm too old, you know, I don't want to get my hands mucky.
Yes, and we have lots more preconceived notions about ourselves that we can or can't do something. That's why it's so fun to watch children in clay classes. You give them all the same ball of clay, and they'll come up with something like right out of this world. Each, you know, no fear. There's just no fear yet, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what's so beautiful. And it's actually really fun teaching the classes, teaching the mug making classes. I was mentioning at the Cask and Cleaver in the quieter fall and winter months, we do hand building clay classes there.
Oh,
and
what fun.
It's called Pottery and Pint Night at the Cask and Cleaver here on Highway 97 in 100 Mile. And when it was first suggested, I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, how can you possibly make clay and have beer and a burger
Right?
at the same
Don't you
time?
need a straw or something?
That sounds horrible. But it was...
the beer.
The beer hat. Yeah.
But there's never been a beer spilt, and everybody enjoys a burger. And
Amazing.
We make hand-built mugs, and same thing. We all start with the same format and templates that we use to do hand building, just like we've got ready here. And it's just so much fun. And
So you don't use the wheel at these things?
No wheels.
I was like,
no.
Oh, okay. Like,
that would be
how
pretty
do you
hard.
do that?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that would be pretty hard to do. But we do hand built. So it's just like rolling out a pie shell of clay, and then we use little plastic templates to cut out our wall and roll it up, make a handle, and sit it on a base.
Okay.
And everybody paints and decorates their own mug, and it's a blast.
I didn't know you can make mugs that way. I thought it had to be made on a wheel.
pottery is amazing. You can do pretty much anything you want. Yeah.
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 What's your,
There's no rules actually with clay or with a lot of art.
Well,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
there's some rules to clay, like center it.
Well, that's
the
true.
wheel.
It's pretty hard to throw a bowl if you don't
Yeah.
center it first. You're right.
I do like the idea of learning the rules just so I can break them a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that is what they say about the rules. Is like that's one of the reasons to learn them is so that you can understand them well enough to break them.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to see some paper clay
do.
that I've
This-
made?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So cool. You guys listen up. Here we go.
So this is where I put my reclaimed clay. So when I get scraps of clay, I throw it all into these buckets.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and then I pour it out on my plaster table, and then I wedge it up. But if I want to make something really big and really thin, I add fiber or paper, and I put my drill into the bucket before I wedge it, and I mix it up really well. And then it gives it strength so that you can build large and thin. You have
Like what's an example of a large and thin piece that you would make?
Well, I used to do, as you can see by it's a very old sign, architectural ceramics. So I used to do really large installations of fireplace facades and
Oh, beautiful.
kitchen backsplash backgrounds and stuff like that. Peter King in Pensacola, Florida, came and did a workshop. I don't want to tell you how many years ago, but like it was many. And I got onto that for quite a while. That was a lot of fun. So when you're doing anything really large like that, it doesn't have to be that large, like a fireplace, but say you just want to do a large sculpture.
Yes.
If you add paper to it, it will give it strength. And but I do have to warn you, as I was saying when you walked in, it will get smelly as it kind of ferments a little bit.
All,
You can-
all normal. No, yeah. People
Yeah.
probably think, oh no, it's gone bad, but it's
Yeah.
a normal thing.
And so it just helps you build very, very, very thin, whereas a regular clay might collapse on itself. It adds more fiber as you're building, and it will burn out as you fire it. So,
So cool.
yeah, so the paper will burn out. You have to be aware of that with your elements as well. Too much of that can start to build up on your elements of your kiln, and you want to have it well ventilated.
Right.
Yeah.
So the paper in the clay is only there kind of temporarily?
It's only there while you're building with it.
That's fascinating.
To give it strength
Yeah.
so that you can go quite tall. Yeah.
Any type of paper?
I used to use just toilet paper. You can take a whole toilet paper roll, put it in water, let it soak it all up, and then use a drill and blend it up so
Yeah.
it just turns into a slurry. Add it to your clay reclaim, and then dry it out and wedge it out on your table, which is what I've done here. But you can you can use toilet paper, or you can use Green Barn Potter Supply also sells a bag of fiber. I've tried that as well, and the end result is the same.
Fiber, like made of.
Yeah, I'm not
Breakfast
sure. I think it's like I think hopefully it's like recycled fibers. I think it comes in a
brand.
yeah, it comes in a brown bag from Green Barn, and I've tried buying it that way too. But the end result is the same. But if you don't want to make it yourself, you can also buy a bag of pre-pugged paper clay
Oh,
from
okay.
Green Barn.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, my brain was going to like whether or not newsprint would work because I'm also thinking like this
Yep.
is maybe adjacent to paper mache.
Yeah, for sure. Newsprint would work as well because it totally breaks down into a slurry when it's wet. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so, what would you do with something like this now?
Okay, so, well, I've got a little demonstration here for you. I'll turn the wheel off. Sorry, there's an automotive shop next door,
Yeah.
and they're revving up the motorcycles, just for a little background music. So, I've already rolled out a really nice thin slab, and it's thinner than I would roll normally to make anything else. I might go sort of 3/8 or a quarter for something really large if it was regular clay. But because this is paper clay, I've gone pretty thin to make something this large. Okay, so I have covered a mold with plastic, and I'm just going to press that in. So that will be my base. And like I say, that's very thin for a large piece because it's going to be supporting quite a bit of weight because I'm actually going to go quite tall with this. But because it's got the paper in there, it's going to be nice and strong for building, and we'll just dry it super slowly. Drying slowly is always the secret.
Oh, so what happens if it dries too quickly?
Well, the reason we want to dry everything slowly, especially mugs or anything large, plates that have a wide base, is because we want it to dry at the same speed. If the outside dries quicker than the middle, then you're going to get cracking. Oh. So like I cover my mugs for a good week or so, depending on the weather. When it's rainy and cool, they can dry slowly on their own, but when it's hot and sunny and dry, you want to keep them covered. Sometimes put a wet sponge in the damp cover with it to dry it really slowly. That's the secret.
It keeps you on your toes when the weather gets really hot, I guess.
Yeah, you've got to work with Mother Nature as well. There's so many different factors that come into play, right? And also firing slowly and not firing too quickly is always a really important factor as well. You don't want to just, if you're in a rush and you've got a show, if you rush a firing, that could be really bad news when you open the kiln.
Now, these patterns here, will they stay throughout the process?
No, it's just, that is simply the paper.
Well, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, it's the paper in the clay that has kind of fermented. And then when I wedged it up, it just turned into a spiral. So no, it will completely fire out. It was white clay, and it's just fermented, kind of darker. I know, it looks so beautiful, that pattern.
Right, yeah.
You can do that, though. You can.
Marbling effect.
Yes, you can. If you want it to stay, you can add colored clays or slips into your clay when you wedge it to get this, and it will stay. But this one is not. So I'm just rolling some thin pieces, again, way thinner than I would if I was hand building something this large. But then we're simply going to take it. We don't need to work with slip to score and slip this because they're both super wet and will blend into each other. And I'll be.
That's how you blend, right?
Just.
Almost like making
it's a very technical term. You smooge it. You smooge it in. You have to smooge it.
It does look smooged.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can use a rib. And this is a really fun way. As you can see, like you can do these in classes as well. Everybody can bring their own bowl or mold for a class and do something like this as well. And it's just a lot of fun.
So the mold is then the larger bowl that you're basically building out.
Yeah, and shape. It's just there to support the shape while we build. But it will be, as it's dry enough, we'll just remove the whole thing out of the bowl. And again, then we'll just dry it slowly.
How do you know when it's dry enough?
Well, when it's a mug or something smaller, there's something called a cheek test, and you put it to your cheek, and if it feels damp or cold, you know that it's not dry yet. But if it feels room temperature, and you can also tell by the feel of it,
it's heavier when it's wet.
It's heavier when it's wet. So there you have an example of how we can get to be building something really large, hand building.
Cool.
I can show you some stuff that's drying. And
sure.
Let's do
I can show you the kiln. So most of this has already been fired.
Oh, what a fancy little room.
So most of this has already been fired. It's bisque fired. That's what it's called once it's been in. When it hasn't been fired, this is something that's dried, but it hasn't gone into the kiln yet. It's greenware. And it's the cheek test. It's like, you can tell it.
Did you say greenware?
Greenware. No idea where that came from.
Oh, okay.
Green as in undeveloped, unfired.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
There's terms that we just aren't aware of, I guess.
Yeah, and it makes me think where they came from.
Well, it makes me think of when someone's referred to as green because they're inexperienced,
exactly.
And I feel like that's something similar. Like it's not been through the whole process yet.
Yeah. So this is inside of my kiln, which I bought from Green Barn, and a little bit of damage happens over time because they are soft brick. So you build up your layers inside this kiln, and on top of these posts, you put another shelf and more work and more posts and another shelf. And the idea is to not fire it empty. You want to fire it as full as you
I
possibly
imagine
can
it takes a lot of
for efficiency.
energy. Yeah.
But these new computerized kilns are just brilliant. They are very efficient. The walls are very thick and very insulating. I have a vent that pulls the air slowly down so you get a nice even firing. It doesn't just, because hot air rises and the items on the top sometimes can be higher fired than the bottom. So this is beautiful. It pulls it down and then takes the fumes, or especially if you're firing paper clay outside.
Right.
And and so that's that. And then these are all bisque fired. And of course, there's a lot of garlic pots here because the garlic
festival.
Garlic festival. You can't go to the garlic festival without garlic pots. So
I like how you're connected with other parts of 100 Mile with the garlic festival. Is it in or Williams Lake?
I don't. Where is
Lac La Hache?
Is it in Lac La Hache? Okay.
The farm on Lac La Hache. Yeah, and it's a huge. I think
It used to be in 100 Mile though.
I'm not sure. That might be
The last
before
time I went to
arrived.
the garlic festival, and it's probably been like 15 years. It was in 100 Mile House. Yeah.
Okay, so the last several years since I've been here, they've been in Lac La Hache since I've been taking part, and it is just a blast. I think they broke their record last year. 3,000 or 4,000 people or something attended. In spite of weather, you can get some storms and some wind. As a vendor, I've seen tents just but it's just so worth it because it's so much fun and so much community interaction and
exactly.
garlic ice cream, garlic everything you can imagine.
I remember watching the garlic clove eating contest to see who could down the most cloves in a sitting.
I missed that because I'm behind my booth with the potters, so I missed that. But yeah, it's so much fun, and they've got live entertainment as well. And same as the women's fair as before that. Women's fair, the South Caribou Women's Fair is in the spring. And Shelley does a great job of organizing that. That's a really great event not to miss as well. And they have local entertainment and artists of all kinds, and a wine and cheese night where the ladies roam around and mingle and look at all the art. And we've got some pretty great events.
You're very involved. And
what
I
other
think
places?
with
Small communities, you get to know everybody.
Yeah.
And you're more connected in smaller communities in some ways, right? You see.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd and I are traveling to a brewery later.
Cask and Cleaver.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have classes there.
Yeah,
Is that right?
That's where we do the hand-built pottery mugs, and they do lots of things there. They do trivia night. They do paint and sip nights, pottery and pint night, and a variety of different things when it's quieter during the fall and winter. But yeah, that's where we do those really fun mug making workshops. And
very cool.
People sip on a beer and have a burger at the same time. It's amazing. And nothing's ever been spilt and everybody has a really great time.
Yeah. What a unique turnout or unique thing to have too. Obviously paint nights are popular.
Yeah, we actually streamed at a paint and sip in Kamloops, but I'd never heard of a pottery and sip thing. That's a pretty cool idea.
Possible, but
Yep.
you made it.
Yeah.
Those boys think outside of the box, and they're very community minded, and they do a lot of community events that also bring people together. And they're doing a great job.
Do you have a preference between sort of teaching and hosting workshops versus creating stuff on your own?
I think it's a beautiful balance of both. I love my quiet time to just not have people around and create and put my incense on and get in my zone, have some fabulous creative music playing. Love those mornings. I get up at 5 a.m. So if I can come down here on a weekend with my coffee and do that, I'm in heaven. But that can also be very isolating. So getting out into the classes is so much fun, and getting feedback and watching other people get so inspired is really fun. Like there's some class mugs here.
Oh wow! Okay.
Most of them have gone back to them already. This is actually a little boy. This wasn't from the Cask and Cleaver. This is one of my favorite little boys. His name is Emerson.
Is that an alien?
And he made an alien.
That's amazing.
I love it.
But, he just turned 8 years old, and that's going to be clear glazed, and then he can actually, it's all functional.
That's his favorite coffee mug.
That might be his favorite coffee mug. Yeah. So
I want to say I love your garlic, what do they call it?
Garlic pots?
Garlic pot. They're similar, but they're not exactly the same as the next. And I think that is so cool.
Yeah,
You never get the same.
Everyone's got its own little personality a little bit, and I do like that too. And I learned because I went to the first garlic festival, and I made garlic pots all this size. And for somebody on their own like myself, it's a perfect size for 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. But I was getting lots of feedback. Oh, we want big ones. We want big. So I've gotten bigger and bigger, and I make sure that I have a variety. I had somebody order a garlic pot this big.
Wow. So it helps
it's
to
nice.
speak up.
Yeah. So I really do love doing custom orders too. I'll show you if you like. I do like custom wedding bowls for people so that you can put their names and the date and maybe some words specifically to whether they're fisher people or whatnot, or something.
I'm looking at some really beautiful. I don't know. I can't see it from here, but they're green and purple, and then are those flower vases on the top there? I love those.
Yeah, those. Actually, I'll show you those.
Let's go.
I quite enjoyed making those. So I'm a Taurus, so everything is somewhat functional. Like I love making beauty, but the little practical side of me says everything's got to be functional and usable.
Yes.
So yes, they are definitely functional vases,
Wow.
but they're also
Are they heavy?
yeah, they're fairly heavy.
So is this? Sorry, I keep interrupting. Would you use paper? Is this made with paper clay?
I actually didn't use paper clay for these ones because I threw them on a wheel. I threw them in 2 parts. So I threw this part on the wheel and joined them, and then threw the top part. And so paper clay isn't great on the wheel. Okay?
Right.
It's not great on the wheel. But yeah, so these were so much fun. And so for me, it's like the natural unglazed, uncolored clay.
Oh, it's like a tree.
The tree, see, it just keeps emerging, not planned. It just comes out intuitively.
Right,
a lot of the growth and the nature, and sort of like what's inside, right? The inside of myself, and then on the outside, then you've got some color. You've got maybe some makeup, some fashion, some coverings, right? The outside. Projection, and so it's kind of like
little face in here too.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a window into the soul. I like to think of these, and they've got little buttocks,
Of course.
and
Very important.
and roots. Yeah, and they were just so much fun to make. I really enjoy.
I've never seen anything like
I really enjoy those ones. And then this one, I was inspired by some musician friends, so it's got the music
Oh my god.
in there, and buttocks.
Buttocks.
Nice bum crack.
Yep. So those are really fun. So sometimes I if I've done a lot of production of mugs, garlic pots, or whatnot, it's nice to just take a little window of time and make something that just comes from the soul and keep that balance. And
Yeah.
Something that you can almost kind of find as your, whatever the word is.
yeah, you can feel like you can feel something emerging, like when you want to say something, or it's like that creation's got to come out, right? And if you keep it over here for too long and get too busy, I'll get cranky. So I have to let it out. Got to express what's wanting to come out.
What's the most technically hard thing to create?
Technically hard thing to create. Teapots are super challenging.
How come?
In fact,
The spout and stuff?
Yes. I don't even have any teapots. I don't do a lot of teapots anymore.
Thus
But
proving.
there is an art to them because the spout has to be right at the right angle. If your spout is too low and you fill your teapot up, it's going to come out your spout before you fill your teapot up. So, and then to have a dripless spout is a challenge as well. So, yeah, right. You don't want it to be dripping all over the table when you're pouring. So there's a lot of, and lids. It's got a lid, it's got a handle, it's got a spout. It's a wonderful thing if you're learning pottery. You get to practice lots of different skills making teapots. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good way to practice lots of different things in the beginning. And
maybe
learning.
the first teapot you make is just not functional, just a wall hanging or something.
Yes, yes.
And it's maybe a good way to learn that you don't like making teapots.
If it makes it through the second firing, then
It's a success.
You're lucky if it's a vase, right?
That's right. I always forget that it's fired twice because
Yes.
after you paint it, you have to put it
Then you
in
glaze
again, right?
it. Yeah, glaze it, and then fire it again. The first firing is low, it's about 1800, and then the second firing is a high fire, and it's about 2100 degrees, and then it's functional, microwave, dishwasher, safe.
Does it also make the clay stronger?
Yes, it does.
The second time around?
The higher you fire it, the closer the molecules of clay get together.
Science.
So earthenware and Mexican pottery, they were able to get those bright colors with the lead in there. They don't use lead anymore, I'm sure. I'm sure they don't use lead anymore. But that's how they would maintain the bright colors, is by firing low. The higher you fire out your pinks and reds, and it's very challenging to get those. But the higher you fire, the closer the molecules of clay get, and it becomes stoneware, and which makes it functional. Microwave, dishwasher safe.
I was going to ask you if it was dishwash safe.
Yeah. And when I say functional and food safe, that's all depending as well. You have to be really knowledgeable about your glazes. If you don't want to have too high of a copper concentration or something like that, that's going to leach into your
Totally.
It makes you wonder, or at least it makes me wonder, like in the past, how these sorts of things were figured out as far as like the temperature that it should be fired at, or firing it twice, or whatever. Just the process of trying things and it not working, or like however, like how did they, how they figured it out?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Like just digging earth from the ground, the clay, the natural clay, unprocessed, without any additions. Depending on what part of the world you're doing it in, it can be, it can melt and turn into just a glaze, or it can become a functional pottery piece. So, like for example, when I visited India, they made these little teacups where you could just get a little shot of chai tea. And not like us, they're not using styrofoam. They're like using, like somebody sits and does these little quick hand-built pots that are either really low-fired, or they may even be dried in the sun, but I think they might be just really low-fired. And they're just tossed again, but they break and go back into the earth. But they're not glazed or anything, and they would serve the little chai tea in that, right? And so, I've taken bits of clay from other areas, either from Chilliwack or locally here, and sometimes they just melt into a brown glaze, which then you would add glass if you want to raise the temperature, like frit, or something that melts at a lower temperature to make it melt into a glaze.
Right.
So there's a lot of chemistry involved too. Yeah,
and in regards to the chemistry, like how often do you play around with like what the clay is, as opposed to just sort of taking the clay that you're given and throwing that on the wheel?
Well, I mostly just buy my clay now from Green Barn Potter's Supply for reliability.
Yeah.
It's fun to do experiments and do like raku firings as well. I don't know if you've done any raku, but it's really fun. Where's my
raccoon?
Not raccoon, but raku, like the Japanese way of firing. So you put not food safe. Talk about metallics. It's very very high. I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you following you?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Very pretty. It's a little awkward to get in here. You can take that top piece off, right, Kelsey?
The tripod is probably hard.
Yeah.
So this is an example of raku firing. So it's very low fire clay. It's not stoneware. It's I built, and usually thin, even sculptures works best because it's bisque fired at the low temperature, and then very high in metallic glazes are applied.
Ooh, can we just show that up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It really, it kind of mimics a fish scale.
Absolutely.
The way it's painted.
So then once the high metallic low fire glazes are applied, then they are taken outside, and this is done outside and not during fire season in the Caribou. You want to do this in the snow or in the rain.
Oh.
We want
Yeah.
we don't even want fireworks these
Right.
days because of fire season. It's but so it's something that you would make sure you do in very moist climate. And so then you put it in a kiln outside, and when it reaches a certain degree, temperature where you can see that through a peephole and safe eyewear, you can see that the glaze is melted. Then you turn the torch off. It's heated with a torch outside. Then you use your raku tongs to remove it from that kiln, and you put it into a hole or a bucket that's filled with newspaper, combustibles, maybe some eggshells, maybe some seaweed, all kinds of things that are going to give you flashing and more color to your glazes. And then you put the lid on. Once it ignites, those combustibles ignite with your piece. Put the lid on so that the smoke stays inside, and anywhere where there's no glaze, it will remain black because the smoke will be sucked into the clay. And the metallic glazes are nice and metallic. So then you leave it in there till it cools and give it a good scrub with an SOS and some water. And that's all. You cannot predict how your raku is gonna turn out, unless you are. Deb Olson is another potter here, and she does a lot. Not mostly, she does a lot of raku. She could probably tell you how her raku is going to turn out because she's got it down to a science. But somebody who does it once a year or once every couple of years, it's always a surprise to see how it turns out.
That's the fun part, though, not really knowing what it will be.
It is. It's super exciting. Yeah. It's so much fun, and it's fun to do as a group. There was the three of us that did it. Deb Olson from Potter from the 108. Oh no, sorry, there was four of us. Lori Ombre from the 108 also, and Denise Swift from Canham Lake. We did it at Denise's house. Wow. And so the four of us got together and had a wonderful day of raku firing. So yeah.
I'm glad you're networking and getting out there. You're somewhat new-ish to this area, and it just seems like you've made a big impact and you found your people.
Us potters love to gather.
Oh yeah.
With food.
Oh, with food, maybe a little wine and a doggy.
Given that there's like all of these different, types of clay and different ways of firing, different temperatures of firing, like, is there any sort of pottery that you haven't gotten your hands into yet that you would one day like to?
Well, so I did study at Capilano College with Sam Kwan, I mentioned, and I can't say enough about him. So, I would call him a master potter. Okay. He's just fantastic, and he taught us so many different variations of pottery. Gas and wood firing really excite me, and I did take my Volkswagen bus over to the island with my daughter when she was little. She was 36 now, so she was about 7. I think she got a picture. She's missing her teeth. We went over to the Anagama kiln in Nanaimo, which I think they've disassembled now, unfortunately. And a large group of potters can all bring your work and then use the glazes that are going to fire at that temperature and do a wood firing in an Anagama wood fire kiln. I would really like to do more. I'd love to have my own wood fire kiln. Or gas kiln. I have an old kiln that doesn't have elements in it anymore in my storage, and it's been sitting there for 7 years, and I keep thinking and hoping that I could turn that into a gas firing kiln and do cone 6 gas.
Are they fairly easy to adapt and modify to that?
I think once you've got it down, yes, but it's quite a learning curve to get your, control the temperature and the rate of the heat, increase of the heat. And but the glazes are just so phenomenally beautiful with a gas firing. Like what might be green might turn out pink in a gas firing. And it's just very beautiful. Same with wood, you get a lot of ash, so you get a lot of that natural orange and amber. Okay. So I think I like to do more natural firings. I aspire to, but it's such a tricky thing up here these days. Even in a gas kiln, you've got sparks coming out of the top, and I've just become such a fire safe person that you see, like,
you need to be living in this
how accidentally fires start up here. Yeah. You just have to be super cautious. So one day, if there's the right spot or whatnot, I don't know. I haven't been able to let go of that kiln that's waiting to be converted anyway. So we'll see. Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Kelsey? I'm visiting with a dog right now.
Nope. I don't have a question.
Okay. Anything else that you want to show us?
Oh, can we talk about all this fun stuff? Is this your tinting and all that?
Yeah, those are all the chemicals that go into making a glaze.
That is cool.
Yeah, so you want to have clay that goes into a glaze, frit, which is ground glass, and all the different frits that give you a slightly different outcome and firing temperature. So all recipes will require a combination of a little bit of all of these. Don't look at that. That's toxic. We don't use that anymore.
Okay, whoa.
I don't even know how to dispose of it. It's barium carb, so I don't use that.
What was that used for?
It gives you a beautiful mauve color in your glazes. And
But
so I still
does it
have
also
some
give you
recipes.
cancer, or?
Yeah, but I just don't use it anymore. I
Yeah.
think if you use really small amounts, you might be okay. But why?
Why risk it?
I
Yeah.
just don't. I just move on.
There's other ways.
Yeah, I've been forced to move on. So these are the ones that give it color. So copper carb is obviously green. Chrome oxide is very deep green. Cobalt carb is a pink powder in this form, but it gives you the blue, cobalt blue color. And cobalt and lithium, which lithium gives me my beautiful turquoise that I love so much. They're both just shot through the roof because price-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're using them to make those batteries, right? So very, very expensive to buy now. So I make my glazes in buckets, 5-gallon buckets this big, as you can see. And I just can't afford to do my green lithium glaze anymore. It's so expensive. So I'm experimenting with other recipes
And that's an artist's
compromising.
We like experimenting.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
One thing I remember from painting my pottery is being disappointed because I thought the color would look the same after it came out of the kiln, and I was like, the colors that you paint will not appear that way once it's finished. It'll be more.
That's right.
It'll be lighter, or
Well, they definitely convert.
You
know, for sure. Like the cobalt, the blue glaze in the liquid state looks pink, but it fires blue. And it's interesting because I've had some slightly over-fired pieces, and they come out, and I'm like, oh no, the show's tomorrow, and this is not how I wanted it to look, and it was supposed to look like this, and well, I'm going to just take them anyways. And the very example of that is the last year's Garlic Festival. The very first piece that sold was the one that I thought flopped, right?
Right.
She went right to it and she loved it. I said, can I take a picture of you with it? And she just loved it. So what we have as an expectation,
sure.
We get attached to. If it doesn't turn out that way, we think it's a failure, but it's actually what somebody else loves more than anything else.
Yeah.
So no expectations.
Yeah. We call those happy mistakes.
That's right. Yeah.
Have any of your creations had happy mistakes built into them?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've had lots of happy mistakes. There's lots of the ones where you open the kiln and you go, oh my gosh, that's not what I thought. It's beautiful. I love that. But I do remember my biggest failure was having Sun Spirit Studio as a retail store / gift shop with my mom. And that was when my daughter was little. And we... it was before electronic kilns, and it had a kiln sitter. So when the kiln reaches temperature, the little kiln sitter, it's called, is supposed to, the cone inside the kiln melts and allows this to fall down, and that shuts your kiln off.
Yeah.
Well, we came into the store the next day, and it was really hot in there. It was winter, but it was scorching hot in there. And the whole entire kiln became one sculpture.
Shut up.
The shelves, every piece, custom Christmas orders for people.
Oh, jeez.
They were all one beautiful sculpture, just like a Christmas tree. That was a really horrible mistake. And what it was, the cone didn't fail. Everything was set appropriately, but there was a metal cart that was just a little bit too close to the kiln. So that lever fell when it was supposed to, but hit the handle of and so the kiln did not shut off. It stayed on, and it fired, and it fired, and it fired. So those can be disastrous and dangerous. So these new electronic kilns are just absolutely beautiful. I still don't leave home when it's firing, but I can stand up there and look down and it's showing me what temperature it's at, and I know.
What sort of temperatures do they get to?
Well, the first firing I do about 1800 degrees, and then the second firing is just around 2100 degrees.
Yeah, that seems hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it microwave, dishwasher, and oven safe. If you think about an oven that you're firing a pizza at 500 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's like, very strong.
You know, it can hold up to those temperatures. Is that what does it? Is it the knowing that it can reach those temperatures and beyond? Is that what makes it safe? Or?
Yeah. If you were going to fire something beyond that, the glaze wasn't formulated for that high of a temperature, it could leach into your pottery.
Right.
Or the clay might not be, strong enough. So, yeah.
There you go. Are you doing any lessons right now? Any workshops right now? Going on?
Yeah, I absolutely love doing the lessons at the Cask and Cleaver. We'll be doing some hand building lessons at the Creative Hobby and Art on Horse Lake Road. They opened up just over a year ago. They're doing amazing things. They have everything from models to puzzles to stained glass classes, and we're going to do some hand building, but they're also, I think, eventually going to get some whales in and do some pottery classes there. I do mobile classes, so I had a family here call me in at Christmas time for a big family gathering, and we all did mugs, and it was just so much fun. I do team building workshops with businesses for employees to do team building. That's awesome. It's actually really fun.
It'd be good for couples too that are like
date nights and Valentine nights and all those kinds of things. Yeah, I just really, really love it. And kids classes. So I'll always continue to do that. And I really love doing special custom orders for people too. I do custom urns for people and
special.
Yeah, for families and pets, and that way with an urn, for example, you can incorporate on the outside something that might be close to them, whether they were a reader or whatnot. Oh, I want to share a really cool project that involved the community of 100 Mile.
Oh, that's
okay.
That's exactly what we want.
So
TELUS wants this stuff. Okay.
Okay, so I guess a year and a half or so ago, not this winter that passed, but the one before, I was feeling really if you listen to the news too much, you can get pretty depressed, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was feeling a little bit powerless, like what can I do, right? I can create beauty and I can create my work, and that's an expression of love into the community. But what can I do? How can I help? I didn't know how. But anyways, I got the idea by, I should have showed you when I was in there, but there's a little bell. I was out with friends and we were in Barrier and in a little park. And my friend came up and said, look what I just found in the tree. And I said, in the tree? And it was a little bell. And I looked inside of it and there was an age, there was a name and an age. And it was a little baby memorial. So the baby had lived for 1 year and passed, and the family had these custom bells made and distributed them all over in hopes that people would find them. And so I contacted them and I said, I found one. And so I said, I took a picture of where it was and went hiking and relocated it and put it in another beautiful place in the hopes that something. So it inspired me. I said, oh, that's what I can do, because I love hiking. So I made all these little bells, and I made like hundreds, like literally over the last couple years. And then I go hiking, sometimes with a friend, and we'll hang them in the trees of the trails. And then people can find them, right? And I can sit them on logs, or these ones I hang in trees. And then they can either take them home and hang them in their yard, or they can go hiking and relocate them. So some of them say peace or love or whatnot, like this one says peace on it. And it's just my way of contributing, because it kind of brings community together. Once they knew about it, I had people contacting me going, oh, we're going to go hiking and look in the trails for the bells. And then people would contact me and say they'd found them and put them somewhere else. And so it's getting us out in nature and beauty and focused on creating peace, right? Yeah. So that's a really cool community project. I just loved doing that. That was so much fun.
I love what you're all about. Like,
yeah. Well, you can. It really
Good
can.
vibes.
It really can create peace in a community. Another really fun project we did. Again, these are really old projects, but it was in Stan Clark Park in Squamish many years ago, and we brought in students that aspired to be artists, and some of them were having trouble in school, so they were going through a special program, and they came in with us, and we got them all to do like custom tiles. And then we also used broken tiles, and we created a mosaic pathway in Stan Clark Park, and it was a government grant funded project, and because that park was getting vandalized a lot, and it was hard and expensive to keep it vandalism free.
And all it takes is a little bit of a facelift, and then people start to respect
Well,
the space
those very
more.
people that might have been the ones that were bored and vandalizing then became the creators of the beauty in the park. And they were so proud. They worked in all weather, under tents and tarps, getting these tiles placed in. And it's just a really fabulous mosaic pathway. I don't know if it's still there. It must be. And
Where is this again?
Stan Clark Park in Squamish.
Oh, Squamish. We can't go
In
there
Squamish. Can't get there in half an hour now, but I imagine it's still there. But yeah, the teens all took a real pride in doing it and learned something new. Some of them decided they wanted to be artists. Some of them decided they wanted to go into ceramics or different things. And so there's just a lot of ways you can encourage people in the arts. You know, you don't have to just be an artist at home in your spare time, but
Right,
you
yeah.
can bring it into the community for sure. Yeah.
Speaking of artists, and you are one, definitely, but you are multi-talented and not just pottery, but you also paint.
I do love painting too.
Can we show your
I don't have a
painting?
lot of time for painting. For sure, that
I just
triptych.
love that. Can
Sure.
we show it? Mm-hmm. Yes. So Cindy was telling me earlier that your painting's never really quite done, right? Because
Well, this triptych is not, simply because I didn't plan it that way. But if you can look at the strength in her eye, and you can see how the leaves that are coming out from her heart chakra there are really strong and healthy. Mm-hmm. Well, with the first time I started doing this painting, I was going through something painful and sad, and the leaves looked like they were dying, and her eye looked sad and not strong. And so as I evolved, this has been going on for years now. Like I started this probably almost 10 years ago, eight or 10 years, something like that. And then about once a year, just through intuition, I just continue to add to it, and it's ready right now. I have some inspiration for some beautiful clouds that I did a little workshop with an artist named Shannon up in Kelowna, actually, who's inspired me to do some clouds. And again, there's those leaves of growth. I think they're really representative of my inner growth anyways. And the plentiful flowers and the beads are a representation of abundance. And yet, as I look at it now, I see it lacking in abundance, and I'm just ready to fill that thing with abundance. So it's like I get the urge sometimes. It's like, okay, today's the day.
Yeah.
wow,
It gets an upgrade. So I don't think that's one that'll be sold. I'll just continue to probably.
It's just a personal.
It's a progress. It's it's an ongoing
Like
project.
your diary.
It evolves,
Yeah,
it changes.
It's like a visual diary, probably. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I know it's not part of what we were here for, but
Thank
I
you.
just had to show you guys.
Yeah, and
This
then the
artist
green.
is multi-talented.
Yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, that's just really fun to do.
Are there any final thoughts you wanna share before we wrap things up?
I just think I want to thank you guys so much for coming today.
Oh, well, thanks for having us.
And
It's been
coming to 100
it's been
Mile.
a treat. Yeah.
And I got this.
Okay, thank you.
And and just really want to encourage people to be creative.
Yeah.
And there's so much healing that comes from that creative process for all of us, I think. And so just on Spirit Studio Custom Ceramics. That's where I post classes and events and garlic festivals and women's fairs and just thanks to 100 Mile for being a beautiful community and supportive, and just encourage everybody else to get your art out in the community.
Brilliant.
That's about it.
Get your art out there,
Cindy,
people.
you did a great job. I loved
Thank
learning so
you.
much about you today.
Thank you.